We're just days away from the biggest fight in Japanese boxing history, Naoya Inoue versus Junto Nakatani. And look, I think Naoya Inoue is going to win the fight, but I'm going to go through the ways in this video where both guys can win. How can both guys win the fight? How might they both go about it? I feel like it is very, very, very interesting to talk about this fight. It is absolutely huge, but with no promotion for some strange reason outside of Japan. But yeah, look, it's interesting because we got Inoue just goes in, a complete destroyer, really. He's got very good timing, very good power, and just ridiculous speed. Then, we got Junto Nakatani, very awkward, very long, works angles well, very rangy guy. And yeah, I feel like it's very, very, very interesting, to be honest, of what could happen here. I mean, both guys got timing, both guys have got power. I mean, would you say it's more, powers with a Inoue, power versus timing, Nakatani with the power with his nice long shots that he does like to throw? I think it's interesting. I feel like it's really interesting because with Junto Nakatani, has he got a kind of style that can make things really awkward for Naoya Inoue? Because I honestly think, again, I think Inoue wins, but I feel like Junta Nakatani's got a style where he could make things awkward. Again, he's a southpaw. Inoue showed no issues with southpaws though, but I think Junta Nakatani's a southpaw, which Inoue hasn't fully seen just yet. But then I do think about it as well, though. There are quite a few people like Nakatani. There aren't many people like Naoya Inoue. That's a big thing. But look, we'll talk about how I believe Naoya Inoue can win this fight. And I feel like a big thing is that he's gonna have and want to break the body early here against Nakatani. I feel like this is a big weapon for him. He needs to break the body of Junto Nakatani and slow him down. I feel like the straight right to the body is gonna be a key for Inoue here, to be honest, or if he is able to back up Junto Nakatani, landing that big right hook to the body of Nakatani could be a big shot for Naoya Inoue, and Inoue needs to slow down the movement of Junto Nakatani, slow him down a lot. And I feel like Sebastian Hernandez, in their last in when he fought Nakatani, I feel like was able to slow him down as the fight went on. Nakatani, in my opinion, probably was the right winner. People were saying otherwise, but Nakatani was the right winner. But he was slowed down, he was caught a lot, and it was pressure which got to Nakatani a lot. And Naoya Inoue is going to bring in pressure, and I feel like body work is going to be something which Inoue is really going to favour when he is coming forward, and he is going to look to back Nakatani up. And I do expect Naoya Inoue to be on the front foot in this fight. And I think as well, Nakatani, I think, throws some good, clean combinations. I don't think he's as fast as Inoue, though. He's not as fast as Inoue. And I think Inoue's got the counters to be able to catch Nakatani off his rhythm and to be able to punish openings when Nakatani does open up. Because I think Inoue has got, I'd say he's got a bit, I wouldn't say significant, but he's got quite a bit of a speed advantage over Nakatani, which I think is going to be very important in the fight. And we're going to see a lot of smart pressure from him, as I was saying. It's just control, stalking him all over the ring. He's going to cut the ring off. Again, the body work's going to be important. He's going to cut the ring off. He's going to go to the body. But I think when he gets going to the head, that's when things get interesting. Again, Nakatani's smart with how he manages range, though. But again, we will get to that. But that is something. So he does need to be very smart when he is coming in here, though, in a way, because if Nakatani can keep him behind his jab, then it could make things difficult for Inoue. So Inoue, has got to be very smart because Nakatani, can get in some good scoring long shots, which the judges will like to see. But I think for Inoue, in my opinion, a late stoppage, I feel like, is the most likely outcome of him winning this fight. That's my opinion. I think there's a good possibility that he's able to break down Nakatani and stop him late. And I feel like body work's going to be a huge factor. And I feel like he'll end up being able to make his way upstairs and busting his way to the head, to be honest. That's what I think. But yeah, in my opinion, the likely what route to an Inoue win is a late stoppage in this fight. Okay, so how does Junto Nakatani beat Naoya Inoue? He needs to control the distance. That's what he needs to do. He needs to keep it very long with the jab, and I feel like he needs to favour straight shots a lot here, Junto Nakatani. That's what needs to happen. He can't let Inoue get on the inside, and I feel like for Junto Nakatani, early rounds are what he needs to pick up because Inoue is someone who builds his way into the fight. He can start slow. So I think with Junto Nakatani, he needs to be getting those early rounds because I'll say it right now, the likely way Nakatani wins this fight is on points. That's how he wins. He's not knocking out Inoue. He needs to be, I feel like, he needs to be as perfect as possible. Not completely perfect, but as perfect as possible for the whole 12 rounds. That's what Nakatani needs to do. He needs to favour straight shots and he needs to get behind that jab. Double it up, triple it up. That's what Nakatani needs to do and bring that straight left behind it. Again, the straight left could be a very important shot for Nakatani, and a long straight left could be something that Inoue hasn't really seen. He hasn't seen the straight left as long as Nakatani. So Nakatani could be a different. I think it's a different kind of southpaw to like an Ahmed Dahlia, to someone like a Dehani. You know, he's very different to them. He's very he's very awkward compared to those guys. And look, if Nakatani can punish entries, if he can catch Inoue when he's coming in, or I just feel like even if the jab's not landing, Nakatani just needs to keep tapping at it. That's what he needs to do. Keep tapping with the jab. You know, keep that lead hand as active as possible. That's what Nakatani needs to do. I feel like that's very important. And that's ways he can punish entries by, having a really strong jab. Nakatani has got a strong jab. Nakatani's jab gets reactions out of people. He is very assertive with that long jab, and that's going to be very important against someone like Naoya Inoue. So that should be a big thing, which if people are picking Nakatani to win, which can give them good confidence. And again, look, I think people will say, "Oh, he needs to use his size," but I don't know if Nakatani's stronger than Inoue. I don't know if he is, but I think what the big thing is that again he is very light on his feet, which is going to be important. Footwork, jabs, they need to be used here, and as the southpaw, he needs to be mixing up that jab from head to body. Just keep the lead hand as active as possible. Mixing that lead hook after the straight. I feel like it's that lead hand is going to be the key in Nakatani's performance in this fight here. That is going to be the key. I don't see him catching Inoue and knocking him out. I think he needs to be as perfect as he can possibly be for the whole 12 rounds. That's what he needs to do it. But I feel like it is very, very, very interesting. And if he can get into a rhythm where he's catching Inoue, walking onto shots like the jab to start with, we'll start bringing that backhand. And again, things will get really interesting. But I do win this fight via late stoppage, but it's very intriguing. I'm really looking forward to this fight.